In a shocking twist, Elon Musk took to X with a revelation that shook the tech world. Tesla is shifting its focus from battery power to hydrogen fuel cells. Why? The company has hit roadblocks mass-producing its 4680 battery cells, and Musk is already steering toward a bold alternative, something he calls the water engine. Now pause for a second. Imagine an engine that doesn't burn oil, doesn't rely on heavy batteries, but turns water into energy. Sounds impossible? Keep watching, because what Musk just unveiled could rewrite the rules of transportation, and maybe even entire industries. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that like button so you never miss a drop of the future. Elon Musk has never been just about cars. With Tesla, he didn't want to build vehicles, he wanted to redefine transportation itself. He proved to the world that electric cars weren't slow, boring machines. They could be fast, sleek, and desirable. And now he's ready to prove it all over again. But Musk's ambitions don't end on Earth. Through SpaceX, he's been working toward making space travel as normal as catching a flight, with dreams of one day colonizing Mars. Impossible visions? Maybe. But remember, this is the man who turned reusable rockets from science fiction into reality. The water engine, he claims, is just as practical and just as disruptive. Think back to 2003. Almost nobody believed in Tesla. Electric cars were called impractical toys. But Musk pressed forward, launched the Roadster, and shocked the world with a high-performance EV that proved electric mobility was real. From there, Tesla unleashed the Model S, X, 3, and Y, each one raising the bar in battery power, driving range, and even autonomy. And Musk didn't stop with cars. He turned his focus to homes and businesses too, creating the Tesla Powerwall and the solar roof. Imagine your house pulling energy straight from the sun, storing it in sleek batteries, and cutting your reliance on fossil fuels forever. That's the ecosystem Musk envisions, a future where clean energy powers every part of your life. Let's step back into space for a moment. SpaceX has already rewritten history with the Falcon 9, a rocket that doesn't just launch, it lands, ready to fly again. And then there's Starlink, a constellation of satellites spreading internet across the globe. Together, these milestones prove one thing. Musk doesn't just innovate, he reshapes entire industries. Now, imagine bringing that level of disruption down to Earth. Enter Tesla's water engine, a technology built on a principle so simple it feels almost magical, turning water into energy. While traditional engines burn fossil fuels and electric cars rely on heavy batteries, this engine takes a different path. It uses something called reverse electrolysis. Here's how it works. Add water, split it into hydrogen and oxygen, store them separately, then feed hydrogen into a fuel cell. Inside, the atoms split again, protons and electrons. The electrons flow, creating the current that powers your car, and the protons reunite with oxygen to form nothing but water vapor. Energy into water, water back into energy. A loop so clean it feels like science fiction, yet it's real. But how does it compare? Traditional combustion engines barely manage 20 to 30% efficiency, wasting most of their energy as heat. Electric engines are far better, up to 90% efficient, but they're chained by long charging times and batteries that wear down over years. The water engine lands in the middle, around 60% efficiency. Not the highest, but here's the twist. It's sustainable, eco-friendly, and endlessly renewable. And here's the kicker. It doesn't just keep up with gas-powered cars, it can go even farther. Picture this. A vehicle that emits only water vapor, refuels as quickly as a gasoline car, and never leaves you stranded waiting for a charger. Fast, clean, and powerful. This is why the water engine could transform the auto industry forever. One of the biggest wins here is cutting carbon emissions. Regular engines spew carbon dioxide and toxic pollutants, choking our cities and fueling climate change. But the water engine? It breathes out nothing but vapor, clean, harmless. Imagine a car that leaves behind no trace but a puff of mist. To put it in perspective, your average gas car pumps out 4.6 metric tons of CO2 every year. Switch to water engines, and those emissions vanish. Urban air would finally be free from the nitrogen oxides and deadly particles that hang heavy over our streets. Now, you might be thinking, aren't electric vehicles already clean? Cleaner, yes. Perfect? Not quite. Mining for lithium and cobalt scars the earth, and if your EV charges on fossil fuel electricity, the carbon savings shrink fast. Hydrogen fuel cells seemed like the next step, since they only give off water, but here's the catch. Most hydrogen today comes from natural gas, which still bleeds carbon into the air. Finding true sustainability is trickier than it looks. This is where Tesla's water engine shines. Traditional hydrogen storage is bulky and unstable, demanding high-pressure tanks. But Tesla engineers believe reverse electrolysis, splitting and recombining water more efficiently, could rewrite the rules. They claim it's safer, cleaner, and ready to scale. That's why many are calling it the bridge to a greener future. And here's something you'll love: finance. Gas engines drain your wallet with constant oil changes and exhaust repairs. Electric cars are cheaper to maintain, but hit you with costly battery replacements. The water engine? Simpler. Fewer moving parts, less to break, less to pay. Lower upkeep, lower running costs, making it a cleaner and cheaper option. Better yet, its core components, fuel cells, electrolysis systems, are built tough, with lifespans that could outlast today's EV batteries. And as production ramps up, the price of water-powered cars will fall, making them accessible to more people than ever. But there's always a but. This dream comes with its own mountain to climb. Setting up water refueling stations means massive upfront investment. Tesla can't do it alone. And yet, if anyone thrives on tackling impossible infrastructure, it's Musk. But here's the thing. Tesla can't build this future alone. Governments and private companies will have to step in, creating a global network of water refueling stations. If that happens, the payoff could be huge. Less reliance on oil, steadier fuel prices, fewer political tensions over supply. And that's not all. Whole new industries could rise from this shift. Imagine the jobs created in water engine manufacturing, infrastructure, and technology. A greener world and a stronger economy, side by side. Of course, there's another challenge: resistance. The auto industry is deeply tied to fossil fuels. From the factories that build engines to the stations that pump gas, the old guard doesn't want to give up its empire. Tesla knows this. That's why it's borrowing what already works. By adapting principles from hydrogen fuel cell tech, storage, design, refueling, Tesla can speed up development and push this transition forward. Still, the question hangs in the air. Will Tesla's water engine rewrite the rules of energy and transportation, or collapse under industry pressure? Every automaker is watching, knowing that if Tesla succeeds, the game changes forever. But success requires more than vision. Tesla must prove reverse electrolysis can be cost-effective, roll out a reliable refueling network, and guarantee safety. Do that, and the water engine won't just compete. It could revolutionize the industry. And not everyone is cheering. When Musk made his announcement, giants like Toyota and Hyundai paid close attention. Toyota, long a believer in hydrogen, called it validation, proof they were right all along. They've poured billions into hydrogen research, and Musk's move gives them momentum. Hyundai, though, is playing it cool. Reports say they're cautious, unwilling to invest heavily until the path forward is clearer. Different reactions, same truth. The water engine has everyone on edge. Still doubting the water engine? You're not alone. Even industry veterans can't agree. Some call it groundbreaking, a spark that could ignite the next energy revolution. Others dismiss it as fantasy. Joseph Raw, a former U.S. Department of Energy official, went so far as to say hydrogen cars are among the least efficient, most expensive ways to cut emissions. And he's not the only skeptic. Over 100 scientists, led by Professor David Sabon at Cambridge, slammed hydrogen vehicles at the Paris 2024 Olympics. Their argument: these cars demand 3 times more renewable electricity than battery EVs, and since most hydrogen today comes from fossil fuels, the green label doesn't hold up. Tough words. Yet, what if Tesla's water-powered engine is the breakthrough that flips the script? But here's the truth. No matter what experts say, the verdict belongs to you, the public. And your reaction? Explosive. Musk's announcement stirred waves of excitement, curiosity, and yes, doubt. Fans and environmentalists flooded social media, imagining cleaner skies and engines that breathe vapor instead of smoke. Others scratched their heads. After all, Musk once dismissed hydrogen outright. Why the sudden U-turn? Suspicion is natural. And there's another reality, one that could make or break this dream. Infrastructure. Gas stations are everywhere, EV chargers are multiplying fast, but a water engine? That demands a brand new refueling network, billions in funding, global cooperation, and trust. The road ahead is stacked with hurdles, making reverse electrolysis cheaper, building a user-friendly refueling system, and convincing the public this tech is safe and practical. If Tesla clears them all, this could be the revolution we've been waiting for. But if not, it may be remembered as Musk's boldest gamble yet. So what do you think? Visionary leap or impossible dream? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because the story of the water engine is just beginning, and you'll want to be here when the next chapter unfolds. Here's the contrast. Gas stations cover the planet. EV chargers are spreading fast, but hydrogen refueling? Still rare. A few hubs in California, Japan, parts of Europe. Barely a foundation, and nowhere near ready for mass adoption. But Tesla has a plan. According to insiders, the company will leverage its supercharger expertise, retrofitting existing stations with hydrogen capabilities while building new ones designed for water engines from the ground up. Bold, ambitious, but massively expensive. It will take governments, private partners, and global cooperation to make it happen. And the questions pile up. How fast can this network grow? Who pays the bill? And will people actually use it? Then comes the issue no one can ignore: safety. Because hydrogen is clean, yes, but it's also highly flammable. The water engine inherits that risk. Tesla claims to have built safeguards, advanced storage systems that lock hydrogen under high pressure, rigorous testing to meet and exceed international standards. Still, will that be enough to calm public fears? Trust has to be earned with transparency, certifications, and constant reassurance that this tech won't just be revolutionary, it will be safe. And then there's the legal maze. Every country has its own rules for hydrogen, how it's stored, transported, approved. Tesla will have to navigate a minefield of regulations with endless testing, documents, and negotiations. Without that groundwork, the water engine won't get beyond a prototype. Which raises the next big question. Even if it works, is it worth the stress? Let's make the case for the water engine. First, how does it stack up against hydrogen fuel cells? Fuel cells deliver high energy density, long driving ranges, and quick refueling, clean power with water vapor as the only byproduct. But the problem has always been production, storage, and transport. Hydrogen is volatile, demanding specialized and costly infrastructure. The water engine sidesteps much of this by producing hydrogen on demand through reverse electrolysis. It cuts down the risks of storing vast amounts of gas. Add renewable power into the mix, solar, wind, hydro, and suddenly the engine isn't just clean, it's seamlessly sustainable. The trade-off? Reverse electrolysis requires a heavy energy input up front. The challenge is making that process efficient enough to compete. And this is where the future hangs in the balance. Success depends on more than science. It depends on building a refueling network, overcoming technical barriers, and proving it can rival both hydrogen fuel cells and battery EVs. Now let's talk market potential. Right now, the automotive industry is under pressure. Strict emissions targets, government incentives, and consumer demand for green solutions are all converging. That creates fertile ground for bold innovations like the water engine. At first, it'll appeal to early adopters, the eco-conscious drivers. But as costs drop and technology improves, mainstream adoption could follow. Analysts even predict water engines could claim serious market share in the next decade if Tesla can solve efficiency, infrastructure, and scale. Still, the road won't be clear. The water engine won't compete in a vacuum. It'll face off against battery EVs and hydrogen fuel cells, each with their own strengths. Price, range, convenience, environmental impact, these factors will ultimately decide what consumers choose. And here's the twist. Success won't depend on Musk alone. Policies shift, technologies evolve, consumer behavior changes overnight. For water engines to thrive, Tesla will need more than vision. It will need strategic partnerships, global cooperation, and favorable regulations. If all these pieces fall into place, the water engine won't just compete, it could disrupt the entire auto industry and accelerate us toward a cleaner, more sustainable future. Let's take a walk through history. For anyone doubting this technology, the past might just change your mind. It all began in the 17th century with the steam engine. Pioneers like Thomas Newcomen and James Watt transformed simple machines into the engines that powered locomotives, ships, and factories, igniting the Industrial Revolution. For centuries, steam was the heartbeat of progress. Then came the late 1800s. The internal combustion engine roared onto the stage, thanks to innovators like Nicholas Otto and Rudolf Diesel. Their breakthroughs gave us the gasoline and diesel engines that powered cars, planes, and ships. Efficient, powerful, unstoppable. For decades, they ruled the world. The 20th century refined them even further. Fuel injection, turbocharging, new materials, all pushing performance, efficiency, and emissions control. But as power grew, so did the problem: pollution and the looming threat of fossil fuel depletion. That pressure sparked the search for alternatives. By the late 1900s and early 2000s, electric vehicles began their quiet rise. Cleaner, more sustainable, but limited by cost, range, and weak charging networks. At the same time, hydrogen fuel cells showed promise. NASA used them in the Apollo missions back in the 1960s. But bringing them to Earth? The infrastructure was too expensive, the storage too volatile. Biofuels had their moment too, but needed huge amounts of farmland and water, raising questions about food security. Then Tesla entered the stage. Under Musk's leadership, the EV revolution gained momentum. Advances in lithium-ion batteries, longer ranges, and the birth of the supercharger network turned electric cars from niche experiments into mainstream machines. But the lesson from history was clear: infrastructure makes or breaks innovation. That's why Musk's water engine is different. By leaning on Tesla's existing supercharger footprint and by optimizing reverse electrolysis to make splitting and recombining water as efficient as possible, he's trying to skip the pitfalls that stopped hydrogen and biofuels before. The question is, can history's lessons pave the way for the future? In this historical context, Musk's water engine feels less like a gamble and more like the next step in a long evolution. Every major leap in engine technology, steam, combustion, electric, was born from necessity. And today, that necessity is sustainability. By learning from past failures and leveraging Tesla's EV infrastructure, Musk is once again pushing the boundaries. If you think water engines aren't feasible, history itself says otherwise. Remember the old saying, necessity is the mother of invention. But where do we go from here? And who else is bold enough to enter this race? The most interesting part is just ahead. Don't blink, because you won't want to miss it. Let's talk about the future of water engine technology. Tesla may be leading the charge, but it won't be alone for long. Nikola Corporation, for instance, specializes in hydrogen-powered trucks. Despite setbacks, they've pushed ahead with heavy-duty vehicles running on fuel cells. Their focus on long-haul trucking could put them head-to-head with Tesla in the commercial sector. Then there's BMW. With its luxury reputation and deep engineering resources, BMW has already been testing hydrogen fuel cell prototypes. If they pivot toward water engines, Tesla could find itself with a powerful rival in the premium market. And don't overlook Rivian. Backed by giants like Amazon and Ford, Rivian has made its name with electric trucks and SUVs, but with the right funding and market demand, a shift toward water engines isn't off the table. Their innovative spirit makes them a wild-card competitor in this race. Of course, competition is only part of the story. Collaboration will be just as crucial. Tesla has always leaned on partnerships to accelerate its vision, and this time will be no different. Collaborating with automakers, energy providers, and universities could drive down costs, fast-track innovation, and strengthen infrastructure. Imagine partnerships with top material science labs making stronger electrolysis systems, or hydrogen researchers developing safer storage solutions. Picture tech giants like Google or Apple layering AI and smart software into Tesla's vehicles, making them not just sustainable, but intelligent. The race for the water engine is about to get fierce, and Tesla's ability to adapt, form alliances, and outpace competitors will decide whether it dominates or gets overtaken. To make water engines truly sustainable, the hydrogen they use must come from clean sources. Picture this: homes lined with solar panels quietly generating hydrogen during the day, fueling your car at night. Your house becomes your gas station, powered by the sun, driving on nothing but water. But here's where it gets even bigger. Insiders say Tesla is already exploring applications far beyond cars. Imagine airplanes powered by water engines, cutting aviation's massive emissions. Picture giant cargo ships gliding across oceans, leaving behind nothing but vapor instead of polluting smoke. Global shipping is one of the dirtiest industries on Earth. This could clean it up overnight. And it doesn't stop there. Heavy industries, mining, construction, manufacturing, devour fossil fuels at a staggering rate. Swap that out for water engines and you slash emissions while keeping production strong. Suddenly, this isn't just about cars, it's about reshaping entire economies around clean energy. By offering a solution that's clean, renewable, and scalable, water engines could rewrite the story of transportation, power, and industry itself. This isn't just about Tesla, it's about a future where sustainability becomes the standard, not the exception. So now it's your turn. Do you think the water engine could truly seal the future of clean transportation, or is it just another dream too bold to survive? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear them. And if you've enjoyed this journey into the future, make sure to hit like, tap subscribe, and check out the next video waiting for you right here on the screen. The revolution might be closer than you think.